ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, and yesterday we discussed from verse number 6. Nachai tat vidmaha kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeyu याने वहत्वा न जीविषामस्ते अवस्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्रा. So the sixth verse gives the sixth reason. Exactly, it cannot be said as reason for not fighting, but it can be considered as one of the reasons why Arjuna decided not to fight. Five reasons Arjuna gave, which he gave with arguments and with material logic and reasoning. And sixth reason was the result of giving material logic and material reasoning. When one um, uh, only argues in terms of material logic, or we can say when one is afflicted with material consciousness, which is godly consciousness, that means when one forgets the real knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, there is no there is no tinge of spiritual consciousness, and whatever he calculates, his calculation or his arguments are based on material calculation. That means what material benefit he will get. According to this calculation, when one decides whether one should act in a particular way or not, then certainly, even if he is very expert enough to judge or argue or to give proper material logic and reasons, but still he will not be satisfied with those reasons, or still he will not be getting the real success out of it, out of that decision. That's not possible. And surely enough, he is going to get stuck into the zone of confusion. Perplexity, the exact word is perplexity. Perplexity means the person is not only just confused, but he's so much confused that he is unable to live. He's unable to tolerate it, the extreme level of confusion. And that confusion practically harasses that person. That is perplexity. Very, very, very dangerous and very, very miserable situation. And suppose somebody may be confused whether I should drink uh, milk, or I should drink means buttermilk. One may be confused like this. So it doesn't matter. That is not so a big confusion. But perplexity, which Arjuna is undergoing, that kind of confusion is completely different. That is giving Arjuna great depression, distress, and he is in a great miserable condition. And that kind of confusion is arising in Arjuna's heart, which we discussed yesterday. This verse number 6. The conclusion of this verse, or the lesson which we learn from this verse, is that as long as one argues or one calculates things in terms of material consciousness, surely he is going to get bewildered, and surely he is going to get confused, and surely he is going to face a miserable situation in his life. And ultimately, he will continue his cycle of birth and death. That is the ultimate result of such material calculation. So Arjuna also, although he gave such a nice reasons, arguments, especially in the previous chapter, if you remember, he gave the fourth reason. That was practically a very, very powerful reason for avoiding fight, for avoiding this battlefield. Because that reason explains that if this battlefield is is going to happen, then not only Arjuna, Pandavas, and Kauravas, they are going to suffer, but many millions and millions of people are going to suffer because of this. And not for that, not for just for one life, but they are going to suffer for many, many lifetimes. Many, many. They are eternally going to reside in hell. Arjuna says like this. Narake niyatam vasa. Yes, he says. Narake niyatam vasa. Bhavattiti shushrumaha. I have heard like this. If we fight this, then niyatam, we will reside in, the persons involved in this fighting will reside eternally in the hell. So that was quite a big reason, quite a powerful reason for avoiding the fight. But still, that could also not help Arjuna to come out of that depression, distress. So what is the lesson we learn from this confusion of Arjuna? That no matter how much intelligent we are, how much expert we are, or how much resources, material resources, facilities, and power we have, if we are in ignorance of the real self, ignorance of a spiritual aspect of our life, then surely, because of being only influenced by material consciousness, because if we only consider ourselves to be this body and the benefits and loss, if we calculate in terms of this body, then doesn't matter how much powerful, how much intelligent, how much knowledge also we may have, not only just material knowledge, how much scriptural knowledge one may be having. If his consciousness is material, then also he will end up into the zone of great confusion and his life will become miserable. So Arjuna, he was, of course, he had the knowledge of military art, military science. He knew, but along with that, he had this is other scriptural knowledge also, spiritual knowledge. So he had spiritual knowledge. It's not that he did not know spiritual uh, knowledge, but he was afflicted with material consciousness, Dehatma Buddhi. That's why he could not figure out properly and he could not apply this spiritual knowledge in his situation, particular situation. And that is why simply having the spiritual knowledge is also not sufficient until unless one is expertly guided by a bona fide spiritual master. He will still end up into a miserable situation. He may still be in material consciousness, although he may have spiritual knowledge. Arjuna had spiritual knowledge, he knew everything, but still, in his situation, he became perplexed. That's why Arjuna finally, in this verse, which we are going to discuss today, this verse number 7, Arjuna finally understood that my reasoning, my logic, my arguments, my scriptural knowledge, my knowledge of military science, my experience are not going to help me at all because I am confused, I am perplexed because of having material attachments. The material consciousness is developed because of material attachment. That is the only reason. So as long as a person is having material attachments, surely he is in material consciousness, and his so-called spiritual knowledge is also not going to help because he will not be able to take the decision. Rather, spiritual knowledge, he will apply the spiritual knowledge with material coating, or rather, we can say he will give material decisions with spiritual coating. Covering, outward covering will be spiritual coating, but the whatever decision he is going to take, that is actually material decision or based on material consciousness. So we should always remember. That's why Srila Rupa Goswami has recommended that one who wishes to progress in spiritual life, he must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Ado Guru Pada Ashray. Then he did not just say that one should get knowledge, a spiritual knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. That is required, of course, because that is going to help us to understand the instructions of the spiritual master, to understand what is reality and what is false of this world. But that can be properly understood only when one takes the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who himself is a liberated personality. The only devotee, a Vaishnava, a pure devotee, a bona fide spiritual master, who himself is free, completely free from material attachments, he can only give proper spiritual guidance. That is a condition. Only a liberated person can liberate another person. One who is himself bound in the modes of material nature, one who is still having some kind of material attachment, so he cannot properly guide another person. And that is what is happening in this world. So many people, they profess themselves to be spiritual teachers, spiritual masters, so-called sadhus, and they give spiritual knowledge also. They speak big, big words also. But because within their heart they maintain deep-rooted material attachments that is still there within their heart, and they practice it also. They don't want to give up material attachments. They still, that's why their guidance, their instructions, their so-called spiritual enlightening courses, speeches, lectures are not effective to liberate the audience. And Srila Prabhupada gives very wonderful example for this. Just like uh, it is a crude example, we should not misunderstand, but this will help us to understand the things in a better way. So that's why these examples are given. So husband and wife, sometimes even after union, a wife cannot become pregnant. So the problem is with husband. Husband is not potent enough. That's why. So although there is union, but it's still because husband is not potent, so the wife cannot become pregnant. Similarly, a person who may be speaking spiritual discourses, who may be giving spiritual knowledge, but in spite of hearing his spiritual discourses, if the audience who are attending him in millions and millions, if they are not becoming fully Krishna conscious, that means the problem is with the speaker. He is not potent enough. And what is the lacking? He himself is materially attached. He himself has not properly realized the spiritual substance. That's why it is very important that we find out some pure devotee whose heart is completely free from material attachments. Only taking shelter of such a great, pure spiritual master, one of our spiritual master, we can get liberated. And surely enough, we are very fortunate that we have got His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And we are trying our best to become free from material attachments and to develop full attachment for the Supreme Lord Krishna under the perfect guidance of Srila Prabhupada. That is our business. If we follow strictly, whatever instructions and guidance has been given to us by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, then surely we are going to get liberated, and there is no doubt about it. Many people, many exalted devotees have followed him perfectly, and they got liberated. The proof, the history is there. So we have the result also. So we simply have to stick to his words and instructions, follow the strong morning program, follow strongly the four regulatory principles, and dedicate according to one's capacity, one should dedicate for the service, for the mission, propagation of the mission of the Supreme Lord. Then surely he will get free from all kinds of confusion, all kinds of attachment. But here, yes, Arjuna, so he could realize that my scriptural knowledge, my material logics, reasoning, my intelligence, my experiences, and my skills to fight, my power, uh, all these things are not going to help me to become free from this material disease known as confusion, great material confusion, great material attachments. That's why he finally decides. He was intelligent enough. Arjuna was fortunate enough, and he was intelligent enough also, that he immediately took shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, because Arjuna knew, Krishna, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna, you are perfectly liberated. You are free from all kinds of material attachments, and you have all this spiritual knowledge. So you only can guide me perfectly, because he is going to speak this verse. Because Krishna might argue that, oh Arjuna, You have many spiritual masters. You can take shelter of any one of them. Dronacharya is your teacher. He was your teacher. He taught you. You can go to demigods. You are so powerful. You can also go to heavenly planets. Brahaspati is there, and so many other demigods, great Rishi Munis are there. You can go to them. And so Arjuna said, they may be very powerful, but my condition, as 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 far as I can observe what is my condition, only you can help because you are Jagat Guru, you are original spiritual master, you have perfect knowledge, and that's why only a person who is perfectly guided by the instructions of Supreme Lord Krishna can become fully liberated, can become fully free from all kinds of material attachments. So one is considered to be very fortunate if one can get the complete guidance directly from the Supreme Lord Krishna, just like Arjuna was fortunate enough. Uh, and and we are also very fortunate because we are also getting direct guidance from the Supreme Lord Krishna via bona fide spiritual master's succession, disciplic succession. So bona fide spiritual master who is 100% dedicated to the Supreme Lord, she acts like a transparent via media. So he does not restrict anything. Whatever is coming from Krishna, he doesn't restrict anything. He simply just transmits it 100%, no opacity, complete transparency. So he gives as it is. That's why Srila Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita and named it Srimad Bhagavad Gita Yatharu, Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is as it is. Whatever Krishna says, whatever Krishna has given the instructions, that is given by bona fide spiritual master, disciplic succession, and then one can get the same help which Arjuna got directly getting instruction from Supreme Lord Krishna. So whatever Krishna spoke directly to Arjuna, so whatever benefit Arjuna got from Krishna, hearing from Krishna, so the same benefit and same instructions we get by following the bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession. That is the importance of this disciplic succession. Otherwise, without following the bona fide disciplic succession, one cannot practically directly approach the Supreme Lord. He cannot understand directly the verses of Bhagavad Gita. That's not possible. So Arjuna was intelligent enough, and he decided. Then in this verse, Arjuna is going to decide, and this becomes the turning point in the life of Arjuna. So previous to this verse, the Arjuna's condition is similar to us. Arjuna got materially afflicted. He developed material attachments for his friends and relatives, and because of which, even though he was quite capable, quite powerful, and he was having knowledge also, he was competent in skills, competent in knowledge, competent in all aspects of life. Sense control, he was fully sense control. It's not that Arjuna's senses were uncontrolled. He was such a great controller of the senses that when she went along with Krishna to the heavenly planets, so there Lord Indra, she personally sent Urvashi to Arjuna that you go to Arjuna, he is my descendant, he's my son. Arjuna is Arjuna's Indra's son. So out of affection for Arjuna, Lord Indra sent Urvashi that you go and satisfy him. And that is allowed in heavenly planets. There is no sin for this. But in this earthly planet, if one does like this, that is a great sin. But in heavenly planet, that's allowed. So we cannot actually mix, we cannot understand the different culture existing in different kinds of planets. So, but Arjuna, he was such a great controller of his senses that he went, as soon as Urvashi came in front and proposed him, so Arjuna immediately folded his hand and paid obeisances to her. Uh, and folded hand, he said that you are like my mother, you are my mother, because one of my great grandfather, uh, they she married with you. That's why I cannot enjoy. You are my mother, and for this reason, Arjuna got the curse from Urvashi. But even he prepared to get the curse, but still he controlled his senses. He lived on dharma. So that is the symptom of a person, a dharmic person. A dharmic, a religious person is not one who only knows the principles of dharma. A dharmic or religious person is not one who only speaks on the principles of religion. A dharmic person is not only one who is famous as a big religionist or big dharmic person. But a dharmic, a real religious person is one who lives his life on the principles of dharma. Very simple. If somebody cannot even follow the four related principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. If somebody cannot follow these principles, how he can be expected to be a religious person? And these four things are necessary for a human being. A person becomes can be called as a human being if follows these four principles. If one cannot follow these four principles, he is not even a human being. So first of all, one should try to become a best, very nice human being. So of course, in the beginning, when one comes in the path of Krishna consciousness, when one takes to the path of Krishna consciousness, so we cannot expect everyone to be able to act on the platform of human being, because the society in general has been the society is so degraded, has become so degraded because of the influence of technological advancement, because of the influence of media, social media, and so many vulgar things are there in media, inside and outside, everything. Vulgar things are there. So how we can expect the young generation, especially, to become free from these four undesirable activities: intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and illicit sex. These things have become so prominent in modern society. But anyone who wishes to advance in his life, in his spiritual life, and anyone who wishes to become free from all kinds of miserable situations, suffering situation of life, then he has to properly be trained in terms of following proper principles of dharma. So gradually, if this process of Krishna consciousness is so powerful, it is so powerful that even a most degraded person in the modern society, most degraded person, can also be elevated to the highest platform of spiritual life. A most degraded person can also become the highest kind of best perfect person, kind of a perfect devotee, pure devotee. And there are examples like this. Jagai Madhai, during Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, these two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, they were great sinners. They used to perform all kinds of sinful activity daily. Uh, but still, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they got delivered and they became very nice, pure devotees. By the mercy of Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur, that Chintamani prostitute, who came to Haridas Thakur to pollute him, to make him fallen. But instead of getting polluted from that Chintamani prostitute, Namachar Haridas Thakur, with the potency of holy name, he delivered her. And she also became as good as Namachan Haridas Thakur. Just imagine. Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 rounds every day, and he was such a great pure devotee that nobody else can imitate Haridas Thakur. He set such a perfect example. At the dead night, directly Maya Devi, the incarnation of Durga Devi, she is coming directly to seduce Haridas Thakur in a solitary place, but still he did not get bewildered. He was firmly fixed up in chanting of the holy name. And finally, Mother Durga, she begs for the mercy of Haridas Thakur to get initiated into the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha. So that Haridas Thakur, by his mercy, his blessings, that prostitute, Chintamani prostitute, who was leading her life completely in performing all kinds of nasty things and sinful activity, she also got delivered and she also started chanting 192 rounds every day. And she gave up all kinds of material attachment. That is the power of a pure chanting, power of a pure devotee. So that is quite possible. One can be elevated to the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. It's not at all impossible task. And we have examples in our ISKCON society. There are many great exalted devotees, not only from India. Okay, in India, people are still pious and they are still self-controlled. They follow the principles of Dharma. But even in the West, when Srila Prabhupada went to the Western countries, so many, the most degraded people, hippies, they also became liberated. They also became uh, means perfectly situated in following the principles of dharma. So that is quite possible. But the only thing is, one has to take proper shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, but through whom one can get the direct association of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So Arjuna was fortunate enough. So Arjuna is showing us the way in his life through the example of Arjuna. Actually, Krishna is um, uh, presenting to us the example how a person who gets degraded into material consciousness because of him having material attachments, he becomes bewildered, completely confused, in a depression. How he can also become perfectly liberated. So that is turning point. This verse is a turning point. So we'll discuss about this verse tomorrow in more detail. Today we'll just read this verse with translation. कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावा पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावा. Translation: Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Arjuna says, My dear Krishna, now I am confused about my duty. What should I do? What should I not do? Why are you confused? You have given so many reasons for avoiding fighting. You are fully convinced. You said only the previous chapter at the end. You said, uh, "My dear Govinda, I will not fight." You gave the decision. So now why are you confused? And not only that, Arjuna was confused, but he's saying, I have lost all composure. That means I have lost my senses. I am bewildered, completely bewildered. I cannot think anything. I am completely bewildered, lost because of miserly weakness. Sammudha chetaha, dharma sammudha cheta. What is that miserly weakness? That is a uh, this topic we'll discuss tomorrow in great detail. What is that dharma sammudha cheta, miserly weakness, because of which Arjuna lost his composure, means his consciousness. Practically he became he became practically he became mad person, you can say, who lost all intelligence, all consciousness, and he's completely bewildered, you can say, in other words, you can say completely bewildered and confused because of miserly weakness. uh, so what is that miserly weakness? We'll discuss it tomorrow, but uh, next then he says, in this condition, so that is my condition, my dear Krishna, I am dharma sammudha cheta, completely bewildered in terms of what is dharma. Dharma means activity, my duty. So I am completely bewildered. So in this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. That's why I'm asking. Yes, Shreya. Shreya means what is best for me. Yes, Shreya Shan Nishitam Bruhi Tanme. My dear Krishna, please, you tell me with certainty what is certain. Uh, With certainty, you tell me what is best for me. Nishitam Bruhi Tanme. Why should I tell Arjuna? Will you be able to accept me? Okay, I can tell Arjuna, but I will tell in a straightforward way. But that will not be appealing to your situation. You may not be able to accept it. So Arjuna says, no, 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 I will definitely accept. You just instruct me. It's because Sistyasteham Sadhimam Tvam Prapannam. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct. That is Arjuna's complete surrender. Now I am your disciple. I am no more your friend. I am your disciple. Disciple means whatever instructions the spiritual master gives, disciple has to follow without argument, without reasoning. So long we argue, so long we discuss. Of course, asking clarification is a different thing. Clarification can be made. Doubts can be asked in order to understand the subject matter properly. That is allowed. A disciple can question. A disciple can raise his question. He can doubt. He can ask humbly, but the intention should be whatever instructions are given in the scriptures, that I totally accept, but I want to understand it so that I may be able to follow it properly. That with that intention, if somebody is inquiring or asking question, and or he is having doubt, that's a good enough. That's a good thing, and that is required also. But if somebody in a spirit of challenge, or if somebody in the spirit of proving the scriptural instructions, proving in the spirit of proving the instructions of the spiritual master wrong, and proving himself, his own ideologies, his own conceptions to be right, with that intention, if somebody argues, that was Arjuna's earlier condition. So that is not a sister, that is not a disciple. Uh, then he cannot get complete benefit from the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master or from the instructions of the scriptures. So that's why Arjuna is telling, now I am becoming your disciple. That means no more argument. Only questions I will ask. So in order to get the clarification of what what you are going to instruct me. So that's why without hesitation, my dear Krishna, now I am your disciple, and a soul surrendered unto Tam Prapanna, a soul completely surrendered unto you. So Sadhimam, please instruct me. Please instruct. Please tell me what should I do? What is best for me? So that is with all humility, with full surrender. Krishna, Arjuna is going to request Krishna to be instructed in the process of performing devotional service. So thank you very much. With this, we'll stop. If there are any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.